Yo, what's going on everybody? It's Key back at it again with another Kingdom Hearts video, and I am kind of sorry that this video is coming out super late. I was actually on vacation this past weekend, visiting some family, hanging out with some friends, cosplaying as Sora. Those pictures are on my Instagram and Twitter if you want to look. Then as soon as I got back, I actually kind of got sick, so that's why this video is coming out like maybe on the 20th or the 19th or something, because we got a crap ton of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link news, and as you guys know, that is a very, very big deal to me. This Kingdom Hearts channel, it's all we're all about on here. Today, I'm going to be breaking down every single bit of information, new information that we got today and the past couple of days, including a possible release date. Well, let's get into it. Now, of course, before we get into the real meat and potatoes, the real bulk of this video, that is the gameplay, graphics, and all that, I do want to give credit where credit is due, and that is to the JP side of the fandom, the people over in Japan who are beta testing and sharing all these impressions and information to us over here on Twitter for all of us to read. The people that are responsible for translating a lot of these tweets and a lot of this information that comes from the JP Kingdom Hearts Dark Road Twitter account, to all of those people, I want to just give them a huge shout out right here. You guys are amazing, absolutely incredible. And with that being said, let's just look at this stuff. All right, so first of all, the first big statement is that the graphics look absolutely amazing, comparable to that of the Nintendo Switch, which isn't really much of a flex when you think about it, considering that Nintendo Switch runs most of their games at 30 frames per second at 1080p or 720p, and that's not exactly a big flex until you realize that this is a mobile game, dude. This is literally on your phone, kind of like action-packed stuff, and it looks and plays like a real Kingdom Hearts game, so I think that's honestly really, really incredible. As of right now, there is no controller support, which is a bit of a shame, because after playing a lot of Kingdom Hearts games, including 358 over 2 days, with my PS4 controller, it is kind of becoming comfortable to where I really can't go back, Next up is the format. I know a lot of people were actually kind of worried about this, but there is actually two different distinct play styles for the game, and that is the GPS mode and the kind of manual navigation mode, just by using a controller, not really a controller, but like a D-pad on your phone. Basically, the GPS function is going to be in portrait, while the manual mode is going to be in like a landscape format, and I think that is pretty cool looking, especially considering this whole thing does have a lot of features very akin to that of Pokemon Go, but we'll get more into that later, but I just thought I'd mention that. Secondly, AP is going to be your energy bar, or whatever you want to call it. This allows you to play the game day by day. There is going to be one of those returning as well, just like in Dark Road and Union Cross, where you can only play a certain amount every day, unless the game goes offline, then you just get basically unlimited playing time. There are actually two Keyblades, two different kinds of Keyblades. The Fortune Gear, which is going to be physical combat Keyblade. You're going to be able to hit people with a lot of combos, do a lot of damage, but you do have more opportunities to get hit with a counterattack, which is why it does kind of have a weird trade-off with the other Keyblade that is Light Order, which is going to be a ranged-only Keyblade, particularly excelling in magic. So for the people that like to play Kingdom Hearts as a magic user, I know that there are those kinds of people. That's for you, I guess. You're going to be able to spam water, fire, all this other stuff, which is of course going to rely entirely on how lucky you get with the Gacha system, because the Gacha system is returning, as we all expected. As of right now, it is confirmed that there is going to be gachas of the Disney, Kingdom Hearts, and Final Fantasy variety, so Final Fantasy is not quite out of there yet, even though Nomura said that Kingdom Hearts has been able to stand on its own without Final Fantasy characters. We are going to be getting those Final Fantasy characters right in there, so I'm happy about that. I know you guys are too. It's not going to be quite the same as Union Cross, because instead of medals, we're actually going to be having these sort of statues, as we saw in the trailer, and that's kind of cool, I guess. But another thing you guys gotta know is that there is going to be that in-game currency, as well as the microtransaction currency, taking the form of jewels and tickets. Tickets can be used to buy jewels, but jewels can be earned in-game, so that you may use that in the gacha system by completing missions and doing certain goals. And speaking of goals, there is another feature that I really, really am excited about, and it's honestly going to get me off my ass a lot more in the future, just like Pokemon Go did when it first came out in summer of, what was that, like 2015? And that is the Go method, the GPS thing, right? It's going to have this in-game feature that keeps track of how active you've been, how many steps you're taking, stuff like that, like a health tracker, right? And that's actually going to build up and give you points, so it will actually give you rewards for those points and give you more like tickets or more jewels. I don't know, it's going to help you get more rewards based on how active you're actually being, which I think is really, really neat. That's something Pokemon Go I don't think really has. It doesn't really reward you for taking steps, but I know there's a lot of really avid Pokemon Go players still out there, so of course you guys kind of understand where I'm going with this. Alright, now getting more into the combat of this game, I think it is actually really, really interesting because this is going to be playing a lot more like a mainline game instead of just like a drag your finger across the screen and tap the screen and swipe the screen. It's gonna be a lot less than that. I mean, you're still gonna be tapping and swiping the screen, but it's gonna be a lot more fluid, if that makes any sense. Right off the bat, we have confirmed to be something that's very similar to the shot lock mechanic that's introduced in Birth by Sleep, as well as a dodge roll mechanic that's gonna be just swiping the screen. Again, we're still swiping the screen, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be swiping the screen like so, and that's gonna let you dodge roll. That's kind of cool. I do want to mention also that the Heartless Spawns are going to be affected by the weather. Again, very similar to Pokemon Go, how in rainy weather you can find more water type Pokemon, in hot weather you can find more fire type Pokemon. Stuff like that is going to happen, and I think that's really cool. You know, it's going to make it a lot more fun and enjoyable to play on different types of days. Also really looking forward to it because as I live in Buffalo now, we're going to be getting a lot more of those ice type kind of Heartless, and that's going to be cool, man. I wonder if that also means that different materials will be dropped based on what Heartless you're fighting. I almost guarantee it will, and would make it really interesting if we could also trade materials with other players. And that's another thing I'm really, really excited for. Multiplayer is coming back and it's better than ever, dude. As you guys saw in the trailer and as we all guessed, raid bosses are going to be a very, very big thing. And there's also going to be area bosses, which I don't really think are too different from raid bosses, but they are distinct from one another in some way. I'm not really sure exactly what way. I just think it's really cool, man. We're gonna be able to like hop into a game together and we're gonna be able to take these things on. Team Shattered Hearts, we're gonna bring it back. It's gonna be so much fun. I love multiplayer games. If you guys couldn't tell, it's why I'm a big fan of 358 over 2 days. The cooperativeness of it and working together to beat a boss, it excites me to a degree that you guys will never understand. And when it comes to gameplay, there is one other thing I briefly wanted to mention, and that is that there is an autoplay feature just like in Dark Road, but I honestly don't recommend using it this time around. I mean, Dark Road, it was really cheap because you just slapped on those revive charms and it would just constantly rack up GP or whatever, and it was good, you know. You didn't even have to play the game. But in this time, especially if you're running a magic build with the light Keyblade or whatever, you're not going to want to do that because it will use up a lot of your MP and you are actually more likely to fail depending on your level, especially early on. I mean, it wasn't really a good idea early on anyways, but you get my point. Don't do autoplay. I think it will take away from the enjoyment, but it is there, of course. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to function, but from what we understand, it's not going to be the best thing to do. Alright, and of course, probably most exciting for a lot of people that are really into creating OCs and making up their own characters within their favorite game and movie franchises is the character customization. Wow, is it so much more in depth. You can not only change eye colors and hair colors and what your character's wearing, and unanimously decided that this is the best character customization we've seen in the series, and it's also been described as being very similar to the character customization of Final Fantasy XIV, which I thought was very, very cool and very, very good to hear because Final Fantasy XIV's character customization is really, really good. I'm excited about that. I'm able to make my avatar, hopefully, you know, the one that's like right here. Yeah, that's my boy right there. Also, I did want to say that Keyblades are also kind of upgradable in a sense, kind of like in Kingdom Hearts 3 and in Union Cross, where you can get materials and level it up. It will change the appearance of it, but also just increase the level and make it so that you can keep on using your favorite Keyblade no matter what. I think that's really neat because honestly, Kingdom Hearts 2's biggest downfall is the fact that you can't use Kingdom Key and make it as strong as Oblivion, and that's something Kingdom Hearts 3 fixed. So props on that. And lastly, of course, if you want to avoid spoilers, please click away from the video now because we are going to be getting into something that was shared. It is part of the beta, but it was never really officially made official by the Dark Road Twitter account. So if you don't want spoilers, I recommend clicking away from the video right now. Like right now. You gone? Okay. People are still watching? Thanks. Come on in. Let me tell you the juicy bits. Let's get into it. So the story missions are locked behind beta, as we all presumed, but there was a brief cutscene, a very short cutscene for when you start up the game that I found really, really interesting. Let's hear it. There's a short scene that plays at the beginning of the game with a Station of Awakening in the likeness of Ephemer, Skuld, Cherthi, and the Foretellers on it. Suddenly, several Starlight Keyblades will rain down and the player character picks up one of them, transforming into a new Keyblade, possibly one of the ones that we described before, Forge Fortune Gear or Lamplight or whatever the hell it's called, and you then face off against a boss with some fellow Keyblade wielders, just like you did in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. Wow, that is interesting. I gotta tell you, man, this whole thing brings up a couple of different theories in my head. Like, for example, it doesn't exactly state what the Keyblade is. It is just my guess that it's Fortune Gear or one of the other Keyblades that you can use in the beta test, but it could also be just a new Keyblade we've never seen before. I don't really know. Maybe an evolved version of the Starlight, who knows? You know, this is all just speculation at the end of the day, and I am going to be speculating on it a lot until we get more news, which might take quite a bit, because just yesterday, or today I guess, Nomura put out an official statement about the prototype test, and it goes like this: "Thank you for participating in the prototype tests regarding development progress. We have implemented 75% of all features, 50% of the user interface, and 0% of the main storyline." Now, this does not mean that they have completed that much. This means that this is how much of it they've implemented it. I don't think that this means that they are too far behind on progress. It could mean, like, we could still get this in, like, the summer of this year, because he goes on to say that, including that, we haven't implemented the storyline. I would say development is overall about 50% complete. 50% complete, it's still pretty good, you know. I think that considering that he has most of the gameplay and UI down, it could mean that as long as he has the story in his head, they just have to implement that, and it shouldn't take too long. If they're trying to do animated cutscenes for a lot of the bigger stuff, I can understand it taking a little bit longer than normal, but for now, my best guess is summer this year we are going to be start playing the full game, because I mean, releasing it in sometime like the winter wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I just think that it deserves to be more of a summertime game, especially if they're trying to capitalize on the same effect that Pokemon Go did back in summer of whatever. Our staff will continue to work hard on developing Missing Link. I hope that Android users like myself have the opportunity to try it out soon. Thank you to Nomura-san. I am right there with you, Android for life. But as always, guys, you guys know how it is. I am very excited for Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. I hope you guys all are as well. I know that it's hard not being over in Japan right now, participating in this whole thing. I'm right there with you. I'm stuck over here in America. But overall, you know, I think it's pretty good. I'm ready for it whenever it decides to come around. Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is going to be one of the biggest games this year, assuming it does release this year. As always, I've been Key. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.